okay, so far this year. My name is Scott Chase. I'm with WSU Extension in Island County. And I'm pleased to present Vivian Smallwood as our speaker. She's with WSU Extension in Skagit County. And she's been there since 1990. You've been there since 1982, and then you've been staff since 1993. Yeah, so she's one of the longest people there at the Extension office. And she was born in Mount Vernon, grew up in Whatcom County, one of eldest of 7 children. And she settled in Cedar Woolley, raised 6 children there, and she was canning 1,200 quarts of food each year. I mean, that's phenomenal. And she canned vegetables, poultry, fish, jams, jellies, pickles, relishes, a little of everything. And then started thinking, when people were asking her questions, if I'm going to be given advice, I better learn what I'm doing is correct. And then she took classes, and she went to the WSU Skagit County Extension Master Food Preservers program and became a Master Food Preserver. And volunteering quite a few hours. She has been a judge at the Skagit County, Island County, and Evergreen State Fair, and goes around giving classes and instructions all over the area. So I won't go on and on. People came to hear you, not me. So welcome, Vivian. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I didn't know exactly what he was going to talk about, but that about covers it, I guess. That 1,200 quarts does not include all of them, so probably just keep that attitude as well. And every year, with my storage room, when we build our house, we build a storage room just for, and that. So it's been fun. I really enjoy it, and I enjoy teaching the classes to people. And I love it when there's a big group, and I'm so glad that y'all get me. When I'm talking about something, if you have a question, can all of you hear me back there? Or is it, can you hear me?
Did everyone get a handout?
Can you hear me in the back? Okay. I might have to set this down when I'm showing something, but if you can't hear, just let me know, and I'll talk a little louder, try to. My voice does not carry, so I try to use the microphone. But it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed doing it, and I am especially pleased in the last few years that younger people are wanting to learn to can. And I get questions at the office all the time from younger moms and young girls that are wanting to can. And a lot of 4-H girls, some of them learn canning in 4-H, but then they want to go a step beyond and learn a little more. And I get a lot of questions from them. I'm also going up to Meridian next week to judge the state range entries for the state range thing. So that's going to be fun too. I've never done it for them before, so I'm looking forward to that. And I always looked at the fair when I go at the range displays, and I shudder sometimes to see how some things are done. So I don't know how they're done, like my judging, but it's supposed to be done right, so I try to make sure. Anyway, the first part of this will be on water bath canning, and mostly the basics of canning, the things that you have to have, the things you have to do. And then the second part will be on pressure canning. And if there's time at the end, or you want to stay and ask questions, that's fine. I will answer questions on freezing and dehydrating if you have any. So first of all, you need to have a kitchen, stove, sink, all the good stuff that we generally have in our homes. We need to have a clean area to work in. So there's a lot of, you can just put a teaspoon of bleach in a quart of water in a spray bottle and kind of mist everything down, and that'll get rid of a lot of germs that might be on your countertop as you're working. And of course, we know clean hands are good, so we want to wash our hands quite frequently. The things that we need are, and I don't have all of them with me, but we need some of the basics that we use in our homes: measuring spoons, measuring cups. We have this thing funnel so we can help fill our jars. Ladles. This is a small one. I brought this just for demo. You'd want a little bit bigger than this if you were actually ladling jelly or something into a jar. wooden spoons. I'm a firm believer that wooden spoons are what you need when you make jams and jellies. The metal ones sometimes will scratch the bottom of your pan if you're using it much. These will not. And while I've got this in my hand, when you do your jelly, you're going to do figure 8, circle, figure 8, circle. And you want everything to move around so that it's everything gets done evenly when you're making your jams and jellies. Along with the canning things, we need to have good jars. The shelf life of most jars, and they all should say Mason on it, and this one says White Mouth, Mason on the bottom it says, named after the man who invented these glass jars, Mason, years and years ago. But we need to have good, clean jars. If you're doing something that takes more than 10 minutes to process, you do not need to sterilize. So if you're doing jams and jellies for only 5 minutes, if your recipe calls for 5 minutes, those would need to be sterilized. So you want to remember that. Our jars come in all different sizes and shapes. This one just simply says Mason on it. There's Mom's brand. This one isn't, no, this is just Mason. There's Mom's brand, there's Bernardin, there's Kerr, there's Ball, a few others too around. In 1994, the company called Altrista bought out Ball and Kerr and Bernardin, which is a Midwest group. And at that time, they put out, updated all the Ball and Kerr books, like the Blue Kerr book, the Ball Blue book, and the Kerr Home Canning and Freezing book. And so from 1995 on are all approved recipes. So if you're doing canning using Brandon's recipe book, like a couple of mine when they only cost 5 cents or 10 cents for a Ball Blue book, those recipes in there are not up to date. And there's a lot of changes been made with them. So you want to be sure and have good references when you're doing your canning. Some of the biggest things that changes were made was with tomatoes. And I might mention this a little bit later too, but while I'm thinking about it, tomatoes lately, in the last few years, have been made so that they're less acidic. A lot of people said, oh, I can't eat fresh tomatoes, they just make my stomach so bad, they're too acidic. So what happened, the growers, not the growers in particular, but the ones that developed different brands of tomatoes, went and made them so that they were less acidic. And so consequently, they're on the borderline between having to be pressure canned or water bathed. So if you add lemon juice to your tomatoes, you'll never taste it, but it brings the acidity level up. And it's 2 tablespoons of lemon juice to a quart, 1 tablespoon per pint. And that's whether you decide to water bath it or pressure can it. It's all the same. So getting back to different things that we're working with, along with our jars, we need to have lids and rings. And the lids are a one-time thing. I know a lot of people say, well, I've used mine before, I put them in and boil them good and they work. But you're also taking a chance that they're going to come undone, and a chance that they might spoil, and you lose that. So get new ones every year. Sometimes when you get online, you can also find these that are less expensive than what I was in the other day, though, into Fred Meyer, and I found they had 25% off of these. The sales probably was over Saturday, but if you watch, you can find these at a reasonable price. The rings, if you take care of them, will last forever until they're rusty. Some of mine are a little bit rusty on the outside, but the inside where it screws down, the rims inside are clear. So you want to be sure that when you have these, that they're not rusty inside, because as you tighten these on your jar, that rust can keep it from sealing tightly. So you want to be sure that it's clean, it's nice and clean.